All right, we're going to replace the piezos in this R180 balancer. So first step is remove the weight tray. Don't forget about the LED wire, right? So you're going to lift up the weight tray a little bit. You'll disconnect that LED wire and set the weight tray aside. Now when we replace these, I actually do not have to remove the vibratory assembly, and I can sometimes do it without removing the inner arm. It's important to understand that there is a front and rear, right? And when we replace these, we're always going to replace them in pairs. These are matched pairs at the factory. So even if I have an issue only with one, I am going to replace both. So first step is, the next step is to disconnect here. And then we'll go ahead and loosen the lock nut underneath. So with the power off, I'll unplug the connectors here at the bottom two, and they are shrink wrapped on there, so sometimes you'll have to get a knife and cut the shrink wrap back a little bit to pull those off. That one came off nicely. Let's see about this one. Yep, I was able to pull that straight off. All right, so now next step is to move over here, and I've got a 19mm nut here that I'll knock loose, and I've got one right here, and that's directly under the piezos. So 19mm. All right, with those loose, it's really not necessary to completely remove the nut, but I like to do that so that when I'm putting this back together, I have full access to the threaded rod, and I am able to drive it up and down manually to get this set. This is a 6mm Allen wrench. I'll go ahead and knock these loose. Now as we knock them loose, the piezo itself is going to turn. That's fine. And we'll get the other side. On the R180 or the 148, I can remove that side panel and just spin it out of the way, and it'll give me clear access to that other piezo. So 6mm, we'll go ahead and loosen that up till it's... Now with those loose, I can come down here and spin this by hand and very carefully lower this, right? We don't want to go too fast because we'll lose everything. Once it's to the point where there's play in it, I should be able to lift it up and pivot it out. Like so. So the cone goes at the top, the ball goes at the bottom. The only thing holding those in is a bit of grease. There is a little bit of grease usually in the kit. If there's not, you can use a little bit of axle grease or whatever you have available to put that back together on the new ones. Same thing on this side. I'll just lower that down while we watch inside here. That should be enough. This is the tough one, so I'll reach down in here, see if I can lift it up and pull it off of that perch. I can't, so we'll lower it a little more. I'm going to lift up and pivot away, and there it is. So that's the inner, and again, these parts are just being held in place by the grease when I go to put it back together. It's a little bit of a challenge to get it up in there, but we'll give it a shot. Here's my new piezos, and they are labeled. Like I said, they're a match set, so they have to go together. That's front, that's rear, so let's put them in the correct order. So I've got the front one on the right, rear on the left, just so I don't mix them up. Now we're going to transfer the ball and the cone from here to here. This kit didn't come with any lube, but I grabbed a tube of So-Glide and greased these two ends up, and I have this ready to assemble. Well, one other thing I want to mention, as soon as I get the old ones out, I usually tie a knot in the end right here, just so that if these ever do get crossed up, I won't confuse these for the new ones and put them back in. So just my little way to remember that that's the old one, right? So to put this in, it's a little bit of a balancing act, and the front one is the tough one, and so I'll usually try to get it between my fingers like this, feed it up to the top, and then set it down, and then with And with the other hand, I'll reach around and tighten up the set screw here. All right, let's give this a go. It's tough to do this one-handed, so I actually set the camera down, but here's how I have it. I'll feed it up to the top, swing the bottom in place, and then with my other hand reach around and tighten the set screw. So that one is set now, right? So it's still loose, as you can see, because I still have to torque it. Let's get the other one in place and then we'll torque them both. And here's this one. And again, leave it loose because we're going to torque that. All right, I'm going to show you this step outside the balancer because I need two hands to do it. So you want to grab your piezo assembly with a pair of channel locks like this. The channel locks are perfect because they can reach around inside the vibratory assembly. Get your torque wrench set it to 5.5 Newton meters or 48 inch-pounds. You're going to torque down that little lock, the set screw there on the bottom. When you do the right side or the outer one, it's pretty easy with that side panel removed. On R148, it's a little bit difficult, right? Sometimes you can get to it by removing the inner data arm and then coming at it this way. For the one on the left side or the inner one, you're not going to be able to come in unless you remove the inner data set arm. On some of the 155s and the 180s, you're going to be able to get the torque wrench actually inside the machine and torque it this way. If that doesn't work, you're going to have to remove the inner arm and come in this way, right? On some of the machines, on some of the truck machines and the 138s, the smaller body, you may have to remove the vibratory assembly and throw it on a workbench to do this. Get our lock nuts in. We'll just make them very snug. And then we'll go ahead and do all our calibrations.